Hi, Mary Baxter here with episode 9 in my Akashic Record series. And today we're going to start talking about soul groups. Now, soul groups are to souls like nationalities are to human beings incarnating on Earth. There are just certain common elements. For example, on Earth, if we come from a particular geographic location, we have a common language with that location. We may have certain belief systems that are also very much centered in that particular geography. And so soul groups also have these common elements. Now, the largest soul group incarnating on Earth we call Earthers because they have always incarnated here, some for hundreds of lifetimes, but they began incarnating here as, in their beginning of incarnations and have always lived here, have not gone somewhere else or, have come here from somewhere else. So then the question is, where else are we from? Well, we are from other super universes. We're from other planets in our solar system and within our universe, as well as other planets beyond our universe. Many of these planets don't even have names. NASA is continually verifying what we've learned in the Akashic Records. Soul group characteristics will involve soul group karma. What is the history of a soul group? What have they done as a group? And how does that affect individual members of that group? There will be a soul group mission, which often has to do with our purpose for incarnating on Earth or a part of it. There are 20 to 30 soul groups, different soul groups, living on Earth today. These are beings of human consciousness, and they look like human beings. They're generally unaware of their galactic origins because we are systematically taught that this is not real, not possible, that there is no other life than the life that is on Earth. And this is absolutely false and is being brought to our attention even through our science. Often, individuals who are incarnating here from somewhere else, who are not Earthers, will feel somewhat like outsiders because there will be a sense of something different. How do these souls get here that are coming from other planets and galaxies and so forth? Well, they come on soul ships, they come on physical ships, and they come from parallel worlds. Now, soul ships travel with souls, not with physically incarnated beings. And there's more than we could possibly go into, but this kind of travel is very instantaneous, nothing like the light years that are talked about in current, space programs as we are taught about them publicly. Physical ships are actually, yes, traveling around in the Earth atmosphere, the Earth energy, and in other universes with physical beings on them. So this sort of takes care of any idea. Aliens has been given a kind of a negative connotation, but if we just take that word off and say people from other planets, yes. They are traveling on physical ships, and that is another way to come to Earth and begin incarnating. And we'll talk about some groups next week who have done that. And then there are parallel worlds. So there are worlds that are actually present within the same space that we are occupying, but the frequency is different. And so coming in from a parallel world involves a change of frequency. Now, soul ships, we have the Sirians who have come on soul ships, and we also have the Maldeckians who have come on soul ships. These are just two, and I want to talk about them today, just to introduce this concept, and also because it's very timely. First, I'm a Sirian, so I know something about that. And our coming in president, the guy who was just elected a week ago, is a Maldeckian. And these two groups share something really interesting in common. And I hadn't even been thinking about this, but it became very clear to me as I was looking at it. Now, the Sirians are a soul group that comes from the planet Hutron, which revolved around the star. Its sun was Sirius B, and so this is part of the dog star constellation. And so this is for us a very large group that came to Earth from the planet Hutron. Gender equality, crystal technologies, the dolphin and whale beings that we have on Earth are all very much a Sirian experience. Sirians also have a lot of history and past life involvement with the Atlantis civilization, which is now, underwater, but there are actual space images of these underwater cities, and that this continent, yes, really did exist, and also some very special connections with Egypt. Hutron was destroyed by a very destructive faction of the population. And this was done through really a misuse or a negative use of science. And, taking something that's discovered by science and then using it to dominate or control. And this resulted in the destruction of the planet Hutron. And so about 10,000 years before all life ceased on that planet, there was a mass migration of souls to begin incarnating on Earth. And these include both the life-enhancing individuals and those that had very negative and domination types of interests. And so we see that on Earth since about 63,500 BC, which is when the Sirians came. They traveled by soul ship. Close to 85,000 souls came to begin incarnating on Earth, not all of them Sirians. And as we go through this information, we'll talk about other groups, smaller groups that accompany these larger groups on soul ships or physical ships. The Sirians understood the nature of planet Earth because Hutron was a planet with two poles, with polarity, and where opposites were occurring that had also been taken to a level of not just light and dark, but also the positive life enhancing and the more evil destructive of life factions. Now the Maldeckians come from a planet called Maldec, which is pretty well known actually because it's currently an asteroid belt in our solar system. The planet was Maldec for the Maldeckians, and their star or their sun was the same as our sun. I think Maldec was like between Earth and Jupiter, and a peaceful, very loving, defenseless population was part of who lived on Maldec. And so these were people who were just very concerned with love and cooperation, producing what they needed to live, and a sense of great peace about them. They were not looking to dominate, they did not have a war machine, nor did they have any defenses. a voracious warring faction intent on colonizing the whole planet and dominating all the life on the planet, including these loving, peaceful people, also existed there. And so this is very similar to what happened with Hutron. Maldec exploded due to the use of destructive energy technology that had been developed that could have been used for power and energy for the planet, but instead it was used for the purpose of, instilling fear, and resulted in the complete destruction of the planet. And so this is where our future, at this point, our future president, Trump, comes from the planet of Maldec and is oriented in one of these factions, which seems kind of obvious. Maldeckians obviously are now incarnating on Earth. So we have Earth, Maldec, and Hutron holding a lot in common. First of all, that the soul groups are here. Humans from these three planets now living on Earth. We have this history of what's happened on Maldec and Hutron. So planets of polarity that did not survive long enough to move into the fifth dimension. Now this is where the Earth is intending to go, into the fifth dimension in this 21st millennium. And we don't know if this is actually going to happen because of the factions that really seem to be creating a situation on Earth that resembles the history of Maldec and Hutron. We don't know what will happen, but we're going to watch. I want you to watch for episode 9 next week, where we're going to look at more soul groups, 3 in particular. I'll tell you they're the Alpha Centaurans, the Hadarans, and the Draconans, and what their dynamic is, first, from before they began incarnating here, and how they fit into the picture of what's happening on Earth now also. And you may feel, some relation with any of these soul groups. There's a good possibility one of them belongs to you. And in future episodes, we will be dealing with more. But these are interesting, and I want to cover them next because these 3 soul groups came on physical ships. Have an Akashic reading with me. Learn to read the Akashic Records. The information, contact me, is right here. You'll love it.